our resource person, Dr. Syed Ibrahim, to the gathering. Dr. Syed Ibrahim has completed his PhD in Computer Science and Engineering. He has been working as a professor with VIT University, Chennai. He is a recipient of VIT Researcher Award for the last 6 consecutive years. He has also received the Best Faculty Award from VIT for the year 2016 and EMC Academic Alliance Award for the year 2013. He has published more than 75 research papers in various journals and conferences. He has organized 5 short-term courses on analytics for students from universities abroad. He has also organized DST-sponsored national workshop on data science research. Today, we are privileged to have an opportunity to listen to him. Now, I would like to request our resource person, Dr. Syed Ibrahim, take over the session. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Lima, for a nice introduction.
Thank you, sir.
I wish to thank your college for giving me this opportunity. And my dear participants, thank you once again for all of you to join back in this session to hear something from me. I hope I will give some insights to you in visualization, and broadly I will give some input in data analytics also. If you have any doubt, you can give me, you can use chat box to interact with me, or otherwise you can interrupt anytime. So I will try to give you the clear idea about what you are looking for. So the topic given to me is all about introduction to visualization. Can you tell me what is visualization? What is in your mind? What you are able to visualize about visualization? So I want this session to be a very interactive one. I want to speak only about 40% of the time, and about 60% of the time you should talk, right? So can you tell me what you are able to visualize about visualization? You have to interact with me through audio, so that all the others also can understand.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. This is the graphical representation.
Yeah, Sandra Devi. Yeah.
Yes, sir. The graphical representation of representing the data and story representation.
Ma'am, your voice is too low, ma'am.
Hello, is it audible now?
Maybe you can little louder, maybe better.
It's a graphical representation of data.
Very good. Then. Okay, ma'am. Thanks. Then anyone else?
This is Ram Kumar, and there is a saying that a picture speaks more than words. So this visualization is to realize that.
Okay, good. Okay. So as per your statement, we want to visualize something to understand about the data. Is it okay? Yeah, Dr. Senthil.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Selvakani, ma'am. Tell me, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Sir, actually, it refers to a graphical representation of both the information and data.
Okay.
It gives the visual elements. We can use chart, graph, map, heat map, then timeline diagrams, time series data, etc. in a very informative way, which is useful to the readers or the users.
Okay, nice. So, in short, there is a story behind your number. We have a lot of numbers. As we are talking only about data analytics and big data analytics, or whatever it is, it's a data analytics. So if you are talking about data, it will consist of a lot of data or a lot of numbers. Data is nothing but numbers. So we wish to visualize the data to bring them to life. So we want to give some life to our data. That could be the way how we want to see our visualization. So now, if I see that some kind of dictionary, it gives some kind of meaning, say like act of forming pictures of somebody or something in your mind. So it's a powerful tool to provide someone else about the thought or view the data in a proper way, and we can get some insights. So that could be the way how everyone sees as the visualization as a tool or visualization as a methodology what we want to see with respect to our data analytics. So if I give this word, what is coming to your mind? It's a very simple one. What is coming into your mind?
The picture of the elephant.
Picture of elephant. Very good. So anybody else? Don't think only Hemalata ma'am. It's not about. Don't think about too much. Simple only term. This term alone.
Something big.
No, I want only that elephant. If you see this elephant term, what is coming into your mind? One madam says about elephant, correct?
The figure of elephant.
Figure of elephant. Is it coming? Figure of elephant. Are you able to visualize the elephant by seeing that word, or you are reading that word again and again, and you are visualizing the word?
By seeing the word, we can visualize the figure.
Elephant, correct? So yes. That's all about the power of visualization. So we are visual creatures where when we say someone says about elephant, we will not read the elephant. The spelling will not come to our mind. Generally, we will be able to see only the visualize. We will be able to visualize what the term is. So our brain will think about the particular term. Immediately, it will bring that elephant, and then you will be able to see the elephant. Yeah, someone raised the hand. Any doubt? Is there any doubt? Okay. Right. So this is another one visualization I want to show to you. What is this? Are you able to understand what is this?
Route map.
It's a Google map, right? So I used to search IFET college from railway station of Villupuram. So it shows me this kind of things. Is it a visualization?
GIS.
Yes. Is it helping me a lot? Is it helping us a lot? By seeing this, we can understand, okay, I have to go like this. This is the route I want to follow, and each and everything we will be able to understand from this. So this is another way of another important representation of our visualization. Yes. Then another one example I want to show you is all about COVID-19india.org. How many of you are seeing this website? Did you see this website? Yeah. Did you see this? Any one of you?
Yes, sir.
Most of us, we may see this, right? Each and every day we will go here, and then we will try to understand what is that, how many cases are confirmed, active, recovered, and all the other things. And actually, he used a lot of visualization tools here to show us all these data. So huge data is actually involved here, but we are able to see each and everything with respect to a good visualization. This is another very, very important, one example for visualization. Actually, this is developed by one of our student, Philomin, who is now in Binghamton University, and actually we transferred this student to that university under our scheme. So actually, this is another example. Okay, let me show you one more thing. You have to tell me whether you are able to understand this or not. Okay. Tell me whether the voice is coming to you.
Visualization.
Is that audio is? Are you able to hear the video and audio?
Yeah, it's clear, sir.
It's clear. Audio?
Yeah, audio is also here.
Fine. Okay.
It's right at the heart.
Play from first. We can wait for another about 5. The video is all about 5 minutes. We try to watch this.
Visualization is right at the heart of my own work too. I teach global health. And I know having the data is not enough. I have to show it in ways people both enjoy and understand. Now, I'm going to try something I've never done before. Animating the data in real space.
Sir, we can't see any video, sir.
From the crew.
Are you sure?
Excuse me, only the audio is playing.
Yeah, one minute.
First, an axis for health, life expectancy, from 25 years to 75 years. And down here...
Sir?
1 minute.
Visualization.
Yeah, tell me.
I think you have to share that screen.
Yeah. Wait. I'm sharing it.
No.
Okay.
Are you able to see now?
Yes.
Are you able to see my
Yes, sir. Now we can see it.
screen? With video and audio?
Visualization is right at the heart.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Okay, then.
Visualization is right at the heart of my own work too. I teach global health. And I know having the data is not enough. I have to show it in ways people both enjoy and understand. Now, I'm going to try something I've never done before. Animating the data in real space, with a bit of technical assistance from the crew.
So, here we go. First, an axis for health, life expectancy, from 25 years to 75 years. And down here, an axis for wealth, income per person, $400,000, $4,000, and $40,000. So down here is poor and sick, and up here is rich and healthy. Now, I'm going to show you the world 200 years ago, in 1810. Here come all the countries. Europe brown, Asia red, Middle East green, Africa south of Sahara blue, and the Americas yellow. And the size of the country bubbles show the size of the population. And in 1810, it was pretty crowded down there, wasn't it? All countries were sick and poor. Life expectancy were below 40 in all countries. And only UK and the Netherlands were slightly better off, but not much. And now, why start the world? The Industrial Revolution makes countries in Europe and elsewhere move away from the rest. But the colonized countries in Asia and Africa, they are stuck down there. And eventually, the Western countries get healthier and healthier. And now we slow down to show the impact of the First World War and the Spanish flu epidemic. What a catastrophe! And now I speed up through the 1920s and the 1930s. And in spite of the Great Depression, Western countries forge on towards greater wealth and health. Japan and some others try to follow, but most countries stay down here. Now, after the tragedies of the Second World War, we stop a bit to look at the world in 1948. 1948 was a great year. The war was over, Sweden topped the medal table at the Winter Olympics, and I was born. But the differences between the countries of the world was wider than ever. United States was in the front, Japan was catching up. Brazil was way behind, Iran was getting a little richer from oil, but still had short lives. And the Asian giants, China, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Indonesia, they were still poor and sick down here. But look what is about to happen. Here we go again. In my lifetime, former colonies gained independence, and then finally they started to get healthier and healthier and healthier. And in the 1970s, then countries in Asia and Latin America started to catch up with the Western countries. They became the emerging economies. Some in Africa follows. Some Africans were stuck in civil war and others hit by HIV. And now you see the world today in the most up-to-date statistics. Most people today live in the middle, but there are huge differences at the same time between the best of countries and the worst of countries. And there are also huge inequalities within countries. These bubbles show country averages, but I can split them. Take China, I can split it into provinces. There goes Shanghai. It has the same wealth and health as Italy today. And there is the poor inland province Guizhou. It is like Pakistan. And if I split it further, The rural parts are like Ghana in Africa.
And yet, despite the enormous disparities today, we have seen 200 years of remarkable progress. That huge historical gap between the West and the rest is now closing. We have become an entirely new converging world. And I see a clear trend into the future. With aid, trade, green technology and peace, it's fully possible that everyone can make it.
How is it? Dear participants,
it's a more interesting way of understanding the things, easily to understand.
no clear?
Interesting way to understand.
Ma'am, there is some disturbance in your voice. Hello? Shall we see one more?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Yeah. So are you able to see that screen? 4 ways to slice Obama's 2013 budget proposal.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So here another visualization. If you can see how they are able they are dividing slice that budget of Obama's government and types of spending. If they do like this, they can divide that into different parts. Then here how that changes was happened, what was the initial period and what was the highest one, and here they go with the departmental total and all the other things. So from all these things, from my old another video and this, what you are able to understand? Is visualization is good or bad, or how to do the visualization? Is it gives you some idea about what is visualization? Hello, any one of you, can you give me your so that I can understand whether you are able to understand it or not? Are you able to understand how visualization is help us to see the data in a better way?
Picture is better than video.
Picture is better than video. Okay. It's not about video versus picture. It's all about pure data versus visualization. Actually, those two, video is also giving us a lot of idea. You know, actually, the video what it talks about is 200 countries, 200 years, and those information is given to us within 4 minutes of time. Is it good or bad? If you take about all the I'm not kindly understand, I'm not talking about whether video is good or audio is good or image is good. I'm talking completely only about how visualization gives you the idea whether visualization is good or bad according to these two things. Our video also provides a good visualization. It gives us 200 countries information about 200 years of data, and within 4 minutes of time we are able to understand it. Correct? So the point here is 200 countries data spread across 200 years. Is it possible for us to read the data, understand it? It's very difficult, right? Yes. On the same time, if we are able to provide the same information in a visualized manner, it is easy for us to observe, understand, and we can easily interpret the data also. Very good. So the same way, another example is also shown to you. It's an interactive visualization mode, where if you see whole data, it is it will give you some idea. And if you can go, you can slice the data into multiple levels, and you can see the data in more level also. These are some good examples for visualization. Now I will go over here some anti-examples also, say like some bad examples for visualization. Okay. Yeah. Now you have to tell me what you are able to understand from this visualization.
Hi, Syed, this is Ranjit. So according to me, I cannot understand anything, or I cannot interpret anything from this bubble chart being a very usual kind of an participant. So I just want you to explain, so how should I learn the information out of this bubble chart?
Yeah, I will come back to that later. The first two examples I just to show you that visualization is possible. That's all.
Okay.
Right. Just I want to show that these are some of the visualization. I don't say even it's a bubble chart or this is that or no. It's not about my point. Actually, I want to show you some visualization so that you can visualize it, and is it possible for you to understand what it is saying. Kindly understand, I am not at all talking about how you can create a bubble visual, or how the data is interpreted and all the other things. I want to show you those two visualization. All the other things will come in the later part of my session. Yeah. Now it's what you are able to, what is your understanding from this image, this visualization?
I can see multiple circles.
Okay, actually, okay. Are you able to see this screen? I will move to another screen actually. So here, I will stop sharing and then I will come back so that I will be in a comfortable position. Right. Sorry. I think my window showed you something different, so that everyone had some problem. I am showing you that coronavirus window. Now is that window is showing to you correctly?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sorry for it. Actually, my question interpreted in the wrong way, right? I hope if you are seeing that bubble chart window, it's actually my question is wrong. Right now, my question is all about, I will come back to this slide again. So these two are two good examples. We already saw about video as well as one image, I mean a bubble chart kind of visualization, interactive visualization. That is too good. Now I'm going with some anti-examples of visualization. Say like, this is the first one I want to show to you. What you are able to understand and what is the problem with this visualization. Come on.
So this is just a bar graph filled with some information.
Yes. It's a bar chart with some information. But I'm saying like this is not good visualization. Why I should, yeah.
6 by 17. 6 people are affected out of 17 people.
No, it is a date.
It's a date.
Date 17 by 6, 17, 6, 18, 6, 19, 6.
Established in the graph.
It is date. Okay, okay.
We are not having the coordinates.
Sir, instead of this bar graph, we could have used a line graph to show it with points.
No.
So that every day we can find out how many are affected?
No.
Okay. Then multiple colors are used, then there is no key also. Why they are using?
Okay, no, something another, one more thing. You have to see that, see the value. Okay, clue is given. See the value.
It's not sorted.
It is not sorted.
It is not sorted.
No, it is not about sorting. We are not interested in sorting actually here. Come on.
Either date wise or the number
No,
of affected people wise, it could have been sorted out.
It is date wise, it is in sorted order.
Yes, absolutely fine. That is required, right? Oh, wait, okay, yeah, go ahead.
Based on that one, here how many people are affected for the particular disease?
Okay, corona disease. This is projected. Yes, very
Hello,
good.
sir.
But yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Sir, actually, if we see in a graph, we plot between two axes. We see the relation between two x and y axes. So in this case, if we want to interpret, we need a relation, and for that purpose, we need to define the axis properly. So I think that concept is missing here, sir. To find a correlation between two variables.
Okay, say like this is given date, and this is all about number of cases.
Number of people, yes.
Number of cases or affected, something like this. Now go ahead.
So, but in the case of number of people affected, the value assigned by the bar 1 is lower than the bar 3. So it is showing very less amount. How is it?
Absolutely. Actually, 3,207 is given something like this. 3,800 is given something like this. And here 4,000 is actually, and 2,000 is somewhere, it's beyond. Are you able to understand? Is it
Sir, representation of the height of the bars, it is different. It is shown by different colors, but it should be the height of the bar should be as per the value of the variable, sir.
Correct. That is missing here. So this is not the good.
Yeah, date is in increasing order, but here the patient's also increasing order.
No, it is not like date is increasing order. It is actually date each and every day, ma'am. Actually, this what it says is, it's a 3,207 people are affected on 17/6, and 3,822 people are affected on 18/16, 18/6. That is fine.
It is bigger chart.
Yes, it should
Hello,
come
sir.
like this. Yes, sir.
Sir, I said previously that depending upon the x and y axis, sir, if we plot a graph as per two variables, I mean x and y axis, and if we then it will be proper to interpret how the variables value are increasing with the passage of time. So in that case, we can get a proper interpretation between the two variables. I mean, one is the number of cases and one is the passage of time. So we can interpret easily how is the effect of coronavirus spreading as per the time passage.
Correct. But whatever it is, now this actually the problem itself, they are not giving it properly. It should be 4,000 should come like this. Correct?
Yes.
But they are giving it a wrong way of representing the data. It is not right. That is the one example I want to give to you. I will give you some more examples also. You can, okay. This is another example I want to give you. What is the challenge with this visualization?
The color of the bar is not same for all the months.
Ma'am, color of?
Color representation.
Color of presentation is not good. Okay, no.
Sir, the dates given below the bars, sir, they are not in the right order.
Very good. Actually, the dates are not given in the right order. It's there is some kind of disturbance over there. It's order-wise, it's not right. So,
sir, there should be a definite pattern in which we should write the date. I mean, there should be a perfect accordance with the dates, but it is wrongly arranged. So, the interpreter will interpret it wrong.
Very good. That's it. Okay. This is the problem of this visualization. Very good. I will go with the next one. Yes. This is what you are able to understand from this.
So what type of chart is this? That itself is a big question over here.
No, sir. Actually, we don't care about what kind of chart it is and all the other things. It's immaterial to understand about the data.
So actually, first of all, the data is labeled properly, but labeling should be done. I mean, there is a lot of overlapping of data, and it is very difficult to track a particular path.
Very good. That's it. So you are right. Now, I want to give you that input to all of you. Say that I showed you 3 different visualizations, and I asked you to show me or ask you to tell me what is the challenge over understanding the data. Right? The first one, what you are saying is, here data is not in a proper, they are not arranging the data in a proper way or not giving the data in a proper way. Here the data y-axis is not correct in order. Yeah, this is all about they want to visualize something. The visualization should be very neat and clear. But here, a lot of overlapping. It is very difficult for us to understand what is happening here. It is not right way to give that. Okay, now let me go with another one. Yes, tell me.
Sir, representation of colors, it is different, sir.
Representation of color is the problem. Very good. Color wise, it's not right. Very good. One more, something else.
So another thing is that the difference between the bars, I think I am taking this 7,000 and 7 and 14. So the difference between 2 bars, it is very less, but between 14 and 15, it is, I mean, the more difference is there.
Correct. Even here you can see 258, 330 and 7,000, or even what is this? Whether it's a 7,000 or 7, or it's a 14, 332. It's a lot of inconsistency in the data.
Proper scaling should be done, sir.
Scaling should be done. Here, it's all the data is in a different scale. If you do like this, again, it's a problem. It is not right. Okay. Someone draw something. I don't know.
Sir, please disable annotation, sir.
Oh.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll disable, sir.
It is very.
Yeah. Now, is it okay?
Yes, it's okay, sir.
Yeah. So what about this?
Sir, this is okay, but representation of colors, because most of the colors are matching. So if we the representation of colors should be different, sir.
Representation of color should be different. Okay, agree. Something else. Something else also. It's a disturbance for us actually.
Percentage wise, split the data.
Sorry, ma'am.
Percentage wise.
Numerical data is not represented. Okay. Yeah. Anything else?
There is no values in the chart, sir.
Yeah, that's only the madam is also mentioning, like there is no value. Okay, that is agree. Anything else?
There is no variation on the data, sir.
Absolutely, there is no variation of the variation in the data. Actually, they want to represent something, but if everything is equal, why we need to represent like this? It's not equal actually. Sleep in hours, sleep in an extra hour is not equal to save money. Is not equal to eat home and eat healthier, right? Is it the right way to represent all these points?
Representation of data is wrong, sir. That is the problem.
Right. That's it. Very good. So representation of the data is wrong, as this is the not right way to represent the data what we want to project. It is.
I mean, sir, one should convey a meaningful information so as to interpret for a good result.
Yes, correct. You, if you note all these points, you will be a good visualizer. Actually, you will be able to do a wonderful job. Okay, good. Yeah, next one. Yeah, what is the challenge with this window?
No statistics.
No statistics, yes. No
Repetition
labeling,
of color.
okay.
Repetition of color.
Repetition of the color, little bit about disturbance. Actually, that's a disturbance for us. And one more point is all about we are unable to understand what is what. We want to go back to that this screen. Actually,
No proper topic.
Yeah, we have to go here. Each and every time we need to verify what could be the kind of city name or country name or whatever it is. We have to come back and we need to understand the labeling. It's
So it
very
is
difficult.
time consuming, sir. So it will take a lot of time.
Yes, it's lot of it
Sir,
consumes a lot of time. This is
again and again we have to view the key given there and then
Correct.
find out what they are trying to
Correct.
explain.
It is very difficult, right? We have to
Yes,
go
sir.
here.
Yes, sir.
Oh, what is this? Again, I have to go to that label. I want to understand what is this. Is the right way to do this?
No,
No, sir. No, sir.
No, right.
Obviously
Very
no,
good.
sir.
Yes. What is this?
Sir, data should be starting from the initial point.
Okay.
So that will be very easy to interpret, sir.
No, this is another way of giving the chart. But actually, again, the problem is.
Sir, I mean that 681. First is 22449. It is okay. The next value is 681. So it should be starting from that 15,000 level. I mean in the x-axis it.
No, it's not like that. This is also one way of giving the graph. Say like from top, we can represent whether there is a increase over this point or not. What is the increase or what is the decrease? Okay, we can represent something like this. But here, the only one problem with this.
Sir, then it will be two colors, sir. If it is going down, it should be red. If it is going up, then it should be blue. But it should be green. So the why is blue and blue color given, sir? That is a question.
Okay, that even we can consider that won't be a problem. But this should be in the same level. Then only we will be able to understand whether it's a drop or increase. Got it? But it is not in the same order. It is a different. Everywhere they are simply they are representing. So it is actually it's not right. Are you able to understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, another one, another important one. So very recently, the Brazil from Brazil they mentioned this. What they are mentioning is for people under 60, coronavirus is less dangerous than seasonal flu. They showed this data also in South Korea. They are saying like this. Yeah, now you should tell me, is this good or bad? In which way it is good, which way it's bad?
Sir, I think it is good, sir, because it is mentioned properly, easy to interpret also for both the cases.
For both the cases, okay. Anyone else?
Easily comparable, sir.
Easily comparable, okay. Anyone else?
Sir, one thing I have noticed in the first case, that is flu one, it is not continuous. I mean 0 to 4 and after that it is 5 to 17. So what is between 4 to 5?
No, no problem. That value is right. Assume like it's right. 0 to 4 and if it's one day 4, then they will consider the 5. If that won't be a problem. Yeah. Go ahead.
So another thing is that the distribution of data is different. I mean, in the first case, it is considering 0 to 4, and it is in the second case cutting 5 to 17. So the period is taken as a period is wrongly taken, sir. It should be uniform period, sir.
Very good.
Intervals are different.
Intervals
intervals
not correct. So here you can see this interval is different. This interval is different. Okay. Now another very big problem is how can she claim like this? Is it right? In which way we can compare these two and claim that there is no problem of under 60 with the coronavirus? Is it a comparable?
So it cannot be compared because the age is different for different cases, sir.
Correct. Very good. So all the others, are you able to understand what I'm talking?
If the sentence, statement and graph is not matching, sir, actually.
Not matching. Correct. So yes. Something with some data, without correctly compare it, we should not give some kind of interpretation. Actually,
sir, if the ages have the same interval for both the graphs, then only we can come to a conclusion. We can interpret something.
Correct. If both the graph scale is perfect, both the disease scale is perfect, if it matches, then it is comparable. Now this scale is not comparable, so because of that, the knowledge which is coming out of this will also be not comparable. So the interpretation given by this lady is not right. It's a misleading. Because of this, we should not understand that, okay, there is no challenge with the corona and then we should not go out and then enjoy the climate and all the other things. That's the problem. Okay. So I may give you the thought process. So what I want to share, and are you getting something from my session till now? What you are able to get?
Sir, how to interpret a data from, I mean, how to interpret a data, that is the main thing, sir.
Okay, then. Then what else?
Then visualization is correct interpretation also to be good.
Yes. So visualization is not just projecting some data in some way. We have to be very, very careful on choosing the right data, right scale, right color, right visualization tool, right visualization technique, and each and everything is very, very important. Then only you will be able to get a proper interpretation. Otherwise, it's waste of all our time and thing. So nice to have like this, and another few more examples. But don't consider me as something different. It's again one
hello, sir.
Given. Yeah.
Hello, sir. In data science concept, this kind of these are called data wrangling or data mining, sir.
This is all about just visualizing the data. It's just a communication. We are not at all doing any analytics over here. I will come back to that analytics in a later part.
Okay, sir.
Just it's all are very. I am giving you very fundamental examples of how to have a good visualization and not to have a good bad. I mean, what are the bad visualization? So this may give you some idea about choosing the right visualization technique for our data analytics. I will come to that data analytics part right now. Within another 2 minutes, I will start with that. So these are some of the bad examples actually for visualization. So here the BJP government wants to give. They are good at fixing the price of diesel, but is it right?
No, sir.
Convey the meaning. Why it is the problem?
So last one, it is that increase in price. It should the height of the graph, the height of the bar should be more. It is less, sir.
Correct. But what they are saying like it is versus global global oil price. So if global there is a increase from May 2004 to 9. There is increase 42% increase in the petrol diesel price, and from here to here 83% in increase, and from here we increased only 28%. That is the statement given by BJP government. Now we are not going into that level. We are seeing only with respect to the visualization. It's not correct way to represent the data. It definitely it will mislead. And another one, it's recently in TV it is showing like this. Where is the challenge?
So 60.2% is less than 39.8, but it is in the pie chart. It is showing less.
Correct. It is not right? So it should become 60.2, and this should come as 39.8. So there is a problem. So all these things I gave all these 6 examples to understand how not to do visualization. About last 5 to 6 examples are how not to do the visualization. Now let us talk with more about how to do it well. with data analytics. Okay. So my point hereafter will be, my viewpoint will be like data visualization in data analytics, or how we can apply, or how our data visualization or information visualization will help us in data analytics. So what is data analytics? In the morning session, you started with the data analytics session. Can you tell me, can you define what is data analytics?
Sir, data analytics is a process of collecting data, visualizing it, and cleaning it, filtering it, so as to make a possible interpretation and prediction for the future business or customers. The
Very good.
behavior
Very
of the
good.
customers.
Very good. Very good. What is big data analytics? It's not that much related, but it's related. Big data analytics. Have you heard about big data analytics?
Yes, sir.
Taking a huge volume of data into account.
Yeah. Correct. So the same way you someone is explained about data analytics, right? Here, big data is nothing but there is some characteristics of data is available, like say like volume or variety or velocity. If the data is big in size, we can call voluminous in size. We can call that as a big data. If it contains a lot of variety of data, then that data is known as big data. If it's a data generation speed is very high and we want to process it, then on the time also the data is known as big data in those period. It's absolutely fine. Now you know that what is data analytics.
Excuse
now
me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, is high frequency intraday data is a big data analytics?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Sir, high frequency intraday data. I mean, whenever a in the stock market, if we check, so in a matter of few seconds, it changes. So that high frequency intraday data, is that coming under big data analytics?
Yes, in one way it is right. When can we say like this is actually say like we have about about lakhs of industries data is available there. About 1 lakh industries share information is available there. All the 1 lakh data will change, right?
Yes, sir.
With respect to
no, sir. I am saying that suppose in a particular index of a company, okay, it is changing with respect to what.
If you say with respect to one company, one change, it is not. We may not call that as a big data with respect to the one component. Say like I have to represent a data as the big data with respect to a node. If storage is more than that of one node, or processing capability is more than that of one node, then we can call that data as big data. In one way, other way of representation. Say,
okay, sir.
You are saying like one industry's high value and low value. If I am able to manage with a single computer, then that data is not a big data. If I am able to use our time series analysis, yes, I can use it. I can do that. It's just a streaming data. That's it. It's a streaming data, one small part. But if I'm unable to store it in that single node, if I have about 1 lakh industries, 1 lakh shares, 1 lakh, all the 1 lakh data will go up and down, right? So on the time, storing that data into my single node is it's a challenge. So I have to distribute the data into multiple nodes. Then the big data will come into exist.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Am I give you the answer?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Sure. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Now let me take you to that modern machine learning process. It's data analytics. Just what you are explaining is the data analytics. Already you know about it. But now my point is, okay, this is all about the process of data analytics. But how can I use visualization into this? Where can I use the visualization over here? So it will start with asking the question. So if I want to start any machine learning process, I have to ask the question, say like, my data available is with respect to my analytical output, what I'm expecting. That some questions I have to ask. Each and every phase I will go in depth and I will explain to you. And I have to understand the data. Then I have to do some kind of feature engineering and all the other things. And I have to choose the model. And then I will go with the tuning and evaluating. Then finally I will show that output in a neat manner with the presentation thing. Okay, this is all about the process of my machine learning thing or data analytics. Okay, fine. Now I will show you where we can use our data visualization or information visualization, how that can be incorporated over here to enhance your data analytics. Fine. Now data vis is all about, I want to see that in two different ways. One is all about for analysis, another one is for communication, right? So what is the analysis? The data analytics, what I will use it for analytics itself. Otherwise, if I can apply some kind of tools or some kind of algorithm or whatever it is, I will get that result and I will communicate that result in a proper way. So I can use this data visualization in two ways. I hope you are able to understand what I'm talking. Analysis, and another one is all about communication. Got it? So to find the relationship or to find the structure inside the data, or if I want to find some values which say like important features among the data, and all these things, I will use visualization in the analysis part. Right. If I apply my analytics and if I get some answer, I can go with the B part. Inform. I will communicate that output to the others. I will tell that story about that visually, and I will show that interpretation of the data. So for that also I can use our data visualization. Right. So in short, I want to give you another way. It's all about before versus after. So what is this before versus after? That is before analysis or before analytics and after analytics. So before analytics, we can say that term is called exploratory data analysis. So we can use a lot of the exploratory data analysis tools and techniques to understand the data, and to from after understanding the data, we can apply our analytics and we can see the data after. That is after analytical output, how your data looks like. So here it will be highly helpful to interpret our analytical output. So are you able to visualize what I'm talking?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Right. Now, what is the first phase in data analytics? Ask the right question to putting the data into that context first. So if you want to apply any analytics, you should not just apply the analytics. It will not come, you will not get any solution at all. So we have to get the data. We have to ask a lot of relevant questions to the data, and we want to understand about the data. Then we have to go ahead. So now I will take this, what to do this. Now, by seeing the data, you can't understand anything actually first in the first sight. So we have to ask, hey, we need to understand about what is the data. Then meaning of each column, we have to understand about meaning of each column, whether that column is required or not, whether this data is required or not, and what it conveys. Each and everything I have to understand. Otherwise, you can't do anything. The next one, I have to understand whether my particular data which is available with me is categorical or continuous value in each column. That also I have to understand. Then next one is all about whether my data is independent or dependent variable. Here this point, the last point, is highly useful in understanding whether all the attributes we can keep it for computation or not, and all the other things we have to decide. To do this, we have to use this. So we have to ask a lot of questions. Now I will show this one or two data set as well as some kind of visualization, and we can ask some questions. I hope you may heard about BeMyIndian database, diabetic database, or whatever it is. Now, even if you don't know about the data set, no problem. See this visualization and tell me what you are able to understand.
The value counts of each variable is.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking. Actually, I am not able to hear you. Can you repeat, please? Sorry.
And the value counts of each variable or a feature is visualized here.
Okay, very good. from this, what are the what you are able to understand? Okay, now I will give you some more clues also so that you can understand.
Sir, the blood pressure of all of the individuals follows a normal distribution.
Okay, normal distribution is fine. Okay, now I will go. I will ask some questions. Try to give me some solutions. By seeing this data, whether I can go with supervised learning or unsupervised learning.
Unsupervised learning, sir.
Unsupervised learning. Okay. Any other answer, please? If some of your friends are not, some of you are unable to understand what is supervised or unsupervised, I will give you the clue. Say if you go with the data analytics, you have to decide whether you are going with supervised learning or unsupervised learning. So what is supervised learning is, if a data set consists of class label or target label, then we can take that into supervised, where you are already have some output. So you want to train your algorithm to get that output. So it is easy actually, right? So if your data set is consist of some kind of fixed outcome or fixed target or fixed class label, then we can go with supervised. Otherwise, if you don't, that part is not available in a data set, we have to go with unsupervised. That if I have that in my mind, I can go with here, right? That's the one. Is it now? Can you tell me whether it's a supervised or unsupervised and why?
Sir, this is a supervised learning. That is, this is prediction,
Yes.
binary classification.
Oh yes. How you are claiming that?
Because the variable outcome has 0 and 1 value. So that is
very good. So it's not meant that we need to understand the data by seeing the data. From this visualization itself, we are able to understand something. So here we have some outcome. Outcome may be the class label, and here it consists of only 2 different variables. So it may be it's a only binary class, 2 classes. Okay, binary class, then binary class, and this transaction will be something like this. So is it give you some idea? Is it gives
sir,
you some
please repeat
idea?
1 second, sir.
Okay, so I will repeat. Actually, first I have to decide my data set is consist of, rather than say like a class label or not, even I will reduce my level. I will say I want to understand whether the data set consists of, or what these are the features that are you able to understand, age, BMI, and all the about 9 features we have. Understood? Not understood?
Understood, sir.
Understood, sir.
Now I want to go with the symbol. I don't want to go for class supervised or unsupervised. Leave that part. I want to ask you a simple, very simple question. Now I want to understand each and every feature, whether that feature is continuous or categorical. Tell me now.
Sir, these are discrete values.
Continuous or
categorical, sir.
Continuous
Continuous,
data.
sir. Continuous, sir. Categorical is the outcome data is categorical, sir.
Very good.
Only outcome data is categorical.
Outcome data is categorical.
And diabetes, only outcome data is categorical, sir.
Very good. Only outcome data is categorical, and all the other remaining data is continuous. Agree? Not agree?
Agree, sir.
Agree. That's it. That's a supervised or unsupervised. It's a, that you may go little later. If you know that those algorithms, yeah, it is easy for you to understand. But as of now, we for anyone, it is easy for us to understand that which feature is categorical, which one is non-categorical. That is continuous value. Understood? Am I using? Did I use visualization to do that?
No, sir.
Actually I used just visualization, visualization to understand whether it's a categorical or continuous.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Correct? Right. Now, this is the one way to do this. So I may use this kind of visualization to understand about my data and features. Okay. Then next one. How does each column? I will go now. I will go with one step ahead. say like I want to take this. Now I'm comparing outcome and age attribute, and here I'm projecting the data in a one visualization way. It's known as blocks plot. So from this, what we are able to understand is it possible for me to ask questions from here? Now I want to ask the question, say like, how is age distributed in different categories of outcome? How is age distributed in different categories of outcome? I'm showing the data output in this by using this box plot. Now, is it giving me any answer?
People above age of 40 are more influenced by diabetes, kind of.
Yes, very good.
So can I explain what is that box? Green color and yellow color box represent?
Here it is represents 0, outcome as 0, and here it's say like 0 is no diabetes.
No sir, actually I'm asking what is that representative of boxes, green color and yellow color boxes?
No, two different colors. For 0 for green for no diabetes, and yellow for diabetes.
It has age has a high influence to categorize the person in diabetes.
Yeah. So actually, if you go in depth of that, we have to understand about what is box plot and all the other things. I don't want to do all these things. I want to understand that how is age distributed in different categories of outcomes. So by using this also, we will be able to understand. So I am saying like now we want to understand whether there is some influence of age with outcome or not. For that also we can use our visualization.
Sir, in the age of 25 to 35, people don't have diabetes, and in the age of 35 to 40, people has maximum chance of diabetes.
With respect to that data, that
yes,
we have
sir.
to understand. Actually, we have to say with respect to the particular data alone. It is not universally true. With respect to this data, this is the knowledge what we are getting. Okay.
Sir,
other than that,
sir,
actually,
higher. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, sir. Please continue.
Go ahead. No problem. Tell me.
Sir, higher the age, more are the chances of having diabetes among the people. More the age.
No. Are you saying about the real-time cases or from the data?
From the data, sir.
From the data. Okay. I agree, ma'am. Your point is well taken. Actually, agree. So now, actually, we are asking some questions among the data, and by using this visualization itself, we are able to see whether our question is more or less gives us output, some understanding or not. So this is how we have. And other than that, we can, by using this data, we can see some of the outliers also. So here this 81 is the outlier, as the age it's 81, but this says like the age is actually that average is all about 35 or something like that. For this group, it's all about, but its maximum ages with respect to this is all about 68 or something like that. But some data are available with more than that also. So from this box plot, we will be able to understand some outliers also, right? Right. Now that the question is actually the same. Now actually this age with respect to our understanding, the age is actually given in category continuous value, right? Some continuous value. Now the data is actually assumed like the data is categorical. Say like young, middle people, old age people. Then how will you ask the question? Then our question will be different. How our question will be different is, what is the relation between our age attribute to the outcome attribute? Are you able to understand what I'm talking?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. If you have any doubt, stop me. I will help. I will try to help you.
Please proceed, sir. Please proceed.
Thank you. Right. Now we have to understand the data in both the sides where it's good or bad and all those things. So we have to ask the questions, say like, what are the possible data errors? Whether do I have missing data, or is my data representation is correct or not? Is it misleading, or is there any outlier? All these things, all these questions I have to ask before start of my analytics. I have to get ready with all these answers.
Syed, this is Ranjit. So I just have a question. Sorry for interrupting the session.
Yes,
so
please.
When can I expect an outlier to happen in the data visualization chart?
What do you mean by when can you expect? What is if there is some kind of outliers, then we can say there is some outlier. Actually, outlier is nothing but its behavior is not that much relevant to all the other data. Correct? Say like if average of age is all about 40 years, and if one age is all about 80, then it's an outlier.
So can we reduce the outlier in the chart? Is there a possibility to reduce the outlier in the chart?
Outlier in the chart, yeah, I am seeing that. I am able to see that one age greater than 81 is the outlier.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Continue.
Yeah, here this age is greater than 71 is the outlier according to this graph.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right. The second one is all about missing data. So missing data is always there will be a problem with our missing data. So we have one visualization way to do the missing data. So here we can see the observations, and here we can able to see the missing data over here. So here the dark sides, all these things are saying like these are the missing data, and here it shows like 24.18% of the data is missing here, or it's 4.58% of the data is missing here. So overall, we can understand that missing percentage versus present percentage, right? If all the data is filled, there is no empty space. So if there some data is missing over here, there will be some kind of blank over there. That color will change. Because of that, we will be able to understand how much percentage of missing data is available here. So we have to deal with missing data in a different ways, right? So now what I am talking till now is, we have to go with our data analytics. Data analytics is having a lot of steps. First, it's all about we have to understand about the data, right? The second, we have to, after understanding the data, what is it, we need to understand about how the data attributes are related. Then only we can go further with some analysis. Now, I'm showing you one correlation kind of things. In general, we will use this correlation in decision tree for understand whether all the attributes are independent or dependent, or even you can use this in our regression problems, linear regression and multilinear regression, all the other things we will use it, right? Now I don't want to go in that depth of regression or whatever it is. I want to show you the correlation. So what is correlation? It's a very simple one, right? Now, have you heard about correlation? Correlation
Yes,
or correlation?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
Relationship between two variables.
Also, degree of association between two variables.
Yeah, degree of association between two variables. That is, if one value is increasing, what will happen to next value? If it's a
yes, sir.
If there is a if something is increasing, I mean one attribute is increasing. If it's increased the another value also, then what we can call
positive correlation.
Positive correlation. If one
Sir,
value is increasing,
if change of one variable is directly
increases, we call it as negative correlation. If both gets increased, we call it as positive correlation.
Okay, very good. So now this is some data is shown to you. This data is all about some different parameters versus house price. So this is a mean house price, and this is all about some parameters, say like number of rooms and all the other things. Okay. Now it's not required. Even without understanding the attribute names, I asked you to focus only on the data and tell me what is that relation between different attributes and which one is having good correlation.
Sir, RM and MEDV.
Yes.
That is having positive correlation, sir.
Very good. Anything else? Any other attributes?
Sir, MEDV and LSTAT is having negative correlation, sir.
Sorry, can you repeat one more time? NE?
Sir, MEDV and LSTAT.
LSTAT. Yeah, this one. You are talking about this one.
Yeah, it is having negative correlation and similar to LSTAT and MEDV.
Okay, fine. They're both same, na? Opposite.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Same.
Yeah,
negative
right?
correlation.
Very good. So now, from this, we are able to understand this. This is another use case. In other way also, it is possible. We can use Pearson correlation formula. We can apply it. And here that output is actually related with heat map. This is known as heat map. And it will also show this output. But here, where is that positive relation is staying here? You are one of you are saying, like rightly said, very high negative correlation and high positive correlation with RM and MDV. But here you can see another variable which is having a good positive correlation, but it is not able. We are unable to view that in this image. Understood or not?
Sir, it depends upon the number of data points we are taking, sir.
No, all the data points are same. No, it's a same data set.
Sir, in this picture, data points is less, sir, and in the I mean the one who is having higher positive correlation 0.76. So the data points are less. So that is not clearly easy to interpret from this.
Okay. Yeah, your point is well taken, but actually data points are all the data points are same. Here the problem is actually a lot of outliers are available here. It's all the data is actually evenly available, but here a lot of outliers also available. Because of that outliers, even though we are getting like a good correlation by using this formula, we should not consider it, first of all. The second one is all about, the second point is all about, we will, okay, we want to, yeah, fine. I want to say that alone. Even though it's there is a high positive correlation, but when we go with the visualization, we can understand that a lot of outliers and the data is not evenly distributed. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Right. So now I will take you to the third phase. Now, initially we are able to understand about the data by asking a lot of questions. Now we are able to understand the data. Okay, fine. Then next we are taking understand about how the data is related. That is how attribute is related. One attribute is related with another attribute. For that we used correlation. For correlation, we can use our one versus another attribute visualization, or we can use our Pearson R and heat map. That we are able to understand. Now we are going with third phase of your analytics. In third phase of analytics, generally we will go for feature engineering, right? The feature engineering is all about, what is feature engineering in data analytics?
Sir, extracting features so as to important features which can give us detailed, which can help us to interpret properly.
Yes, very good. So actually feature engineering is, we have two different types of feature engineering. One is feature selection. Another one is all about feature reduction or dimensionality reduction. So feature selection is all about, if you have say like I have about A1, A2, A3, A10 and class label. Okay. If I have this kind of structure and you say like if I have about 100 or 1 lakh transaction, say like 1 lakh transaction, if I go with feature selection, say like forward selection or backward elimination or some other wrapper method and filter method are available. If I go with the feature selection, I will choose only the important features, say like A1, say like A5 and A10, something like this. I can say only 3 attributes are enough for my computation with the correlation or something like that. I will apply it and then I chose this one. Got it? Now, is there any reduction in my transaction? Number of transaction?
So reduction is the giving weightages, I mean giving allocation, sir, and you have just selected important features, sir.
Yes, I'm saying about feature selection. I'm not talking about feature reduction. Feature selection is all about choosing the features out of original feature set. Rather than saying like A1, A2, I said about 10 features. I don't choose all the 10 features in my computation. I will choose only important features by even this is happening in decision tree. We will apply info gain and we will choose that particular important attribute to construct a decision tree.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
I don't want to go into that much depth. Just for our understanding, here I have 10 features. Here I choose only 3 features. Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Feature selection
like
is done, sir.
Yeah, I can do like this, and my transaction will be 1 to 1 lakh only. That won't change. I can apply analytics. This is one way, right? The other way is all about feature reduction. Why this kind of feature reduction is required? What do you mean by dimensionality first? To answer this, you have to understand about dimensionality. What do you mean by dimensionality?
Sir, vectors of a variable, different vectors of a variable.
Okay. So with respect to this example, which one will be known as dimensionality of the data?
Sir, all the rows and the columns from A1 to A10.
Okay. That will be known as your dimensionality, right?
Yes, sir. That attributes contribute to the target class. So
okay,
we can reduce the number of attributes required for predicting the class, the target class.
Okay. Why should I reduce that dimensionality? What is the logic behind it? Why should I reduce it?
Sir, because not all vectors, I mean the data we are considering and the interpretation we are trying to make, it depends upon what kind of vectors we choose. If we choose more vectors which are not necessary, it will give us more outliers, which will be difficult to interpret the data.
Very good. So we have one term called curse of dimensionality. That is, we can understand, we can think that if we have more dimensional data, then our analytical answer will be very good. But it is proved that more feature means it won't give us better results. So we want to reduce to required features. That is, more features means it's a dependent. All or most of them are dependent, and again they will give the same idea, and they will not give any contribution to the class level. So it's unnecessary features needs to be removed. For that, we can have this feature selection or feature reduction. One way is all about, here I am taking you to the PCA. It's all about dimensional reduction technique. Here dimensional reduction is all about, we can see it in two different ways. One is all about, I am unable to visualize the data. So I want to reduce the dimensionality to see the data, how the data is spread and all the other things. And I can apply for some algorithm. That's the one way, right? So here, I will take you to this example. Say like iris flower, most of you may use it. 3 kinds of flower will be there, Setosa, versicolor and virginica. And actually here we have about 4 different features. Now, can you tell me, how can I represent this data? So what I'm saying is 3 kinds of flower, 4 kinds of attributes, 4 attributes, right? With the 4 attributes and 3 flowers, I want to represent the data. How can we do this? How many dimensions is required here? How can I project the data?
Sir, we can take 3 rows, 4 columns, or 4 rows, 3 columns, sir.
Anything is fine, sir. But actually, how will you project the data? Actually, I have here I'm saying like 4 attributes. So sepal length, even I can have example, right? Yeah, I have examples also, no problem.
So this is what I was telling. The 3 rows or 4 columns, or 4 columns or 4 rows or 3 columns?
4 columns and 3 different class. Actually, samples will be 150 according to this case. That's a different. Assume like this. I want to project this data into my some way to see the data. How can I see the data? What is the way to project this data as the how can I visualize the data?
Taking any two of the attributes, sir. Sepal length, sepal width, or petal length, petal width.
Why you are taking only 2 attributes, ma'am?
So reducing dimensions, we can reduce the. I think we would get the better output. We can take
better output.
4 also.
Actually, yes, you are right. Yes, ma'am, you are right. Projecting all the 4 attribute is not at all possible. It's not at all possible, right? Yes. It's very difficult for our human eyes to see the data in a 4 different dimension is very difficult. Now, I want to see that is it possible for me to reduce this dimension so that I can present my data, and from that I want to get some insights. Are you able to understand what I'm talking?
Yes, sir.
Right? You are right. You are able to visualize only sepal length versus class label, or sepal width versus sepal length, something like this. You can see only 2 dimension, or even we can go up to 3 dimension. Even 4 dimension is possible nowadays, but it is very difficult for us to project and see the data and understand the data. Now it is not possible. So I want to reduce the dimensionality of the data. So here we can have a principal component analysis or something like this. Here again, it's a visualization is helpful to us. After applying this PCA, if I project the data something like this, I'm projecting only 2 principal components. One principal component is here, another principal PC here, PC0 or PC0. I am projecting PC0 and PC1. Now, is it possible for you to view the data in a better way?
It's not clear. Can you repeat it again, sir?
Okay, I will repeat. I repeat. Here I have we have about 4 attributes and 3 different class labels and 150 transactions. I asked you to project this data and any visualization, so that I want to understand the data, how the data is available in the data set. Is it possible? Is there any visualization available with us?
Sir, you mentioned that it is very difficult to take 4-dimensional data, so
yes,
we have to reduce the dimensions, so that you can easily interpret.
Yeah, correct. Actually, viewing all the 4 dimension in a single visualization is not at all possible. It's very difficult, and human eye is not that much good. Now we are going with PCA kind of concept. I'm talking with respect to data analytics. Okay, so I applied that data analytics here. I mean dimensional reduction technique here. PCA is the one way. After applying PCA, I will get 2 different components. The PCA output will be 2 components. It may have about more, but I can reduce it into 2 so that I can view the data in 2 different dimensions. Here I am representing PC0, that is principal component 0 versus principal component 1. If I am able to project this, am I able to project all the 150 transactions here? Am I able to project all the 3 different class labels here?
Yes, sir.
Is it giving me idea about all the 4 attributes? Actually, all the 4 attributes is now converted into 2 attributes, and it is showing like this.
Yes, sir. Yes, it is giving, sir. Actually, we are considering 2 attributes only. We were able to categorize, no, sir?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, actually, by using only 2 attributes, we are unable to do this. But all the 4 attributes is now converted into 2 attributes by using this PCA. All the 4 attributes is now converted into 2 attributes by using this PCA concept. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good. So now what we are discussing till now is, in the first step, we have to ask questions. The second step, we have to understand the data. The third step, if possible, we want to reduce the data. These 3 steps are over right now. Got the point? Now I am going. Now first step is all about understanding the data. Second step is all about
Sir, not audible, sir.
Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir, now audible, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So what are the steps we are seeing? The first step is all about seeing the data and understand by asking questions. The second one is all about understand the data. How we did it? Here we saw about whether missing data and all the other things, right? We did some EDA and we did it. Then third step is all about feature engineering. We have completed 3 steps in data analytics. Agree, not agree. And I am showing everything with respect with visualization. Understood? Not understood?
Agreed, sir. Agreed, sir.
Agreed. Now
yes, sir.
I am going with the another step. In general, here the next step will be model construction. Correct? In your data analytics, we will call this as the next step will be model construction. Agree, not agree?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, to model construction also, visualization is highly helpful. Nowadays, we are using deep learning. In deep learning, we will be able to see the model construction and how the network is formed and how all the nodes are connected one by each others, and how that model is developed. That you can visualize actually. In our machine learning world, it is not possible actually. But now the TensorFlow comes with the tensor board, where you will be able to see the graph. This graph is all about, it will say like, I have some data, whether my data is a dense layer or flattened layer, or its output is flattened or not, and how whether do I have drop out or not, whether how the dense are, all these things. It's actually the system is able to show us some visualization. So by this visualization, we will be able to understand how my network is constructed, right? Now that is actually very, very important one. I want to visualize my data. It's a one way. I want to visualize my model also, so that I will be able to construct my data analytics algorithm in a proper way. So this is one way of doing it. Again, here auxiliary nodes, here also it shows like how the training will happen, will happen with different nodes, and how that different other training is happening with some other flow, and which one is good, and all the other things we will be able to understand. Some of you may not see that tensor board, but it's the intention over here is even model construction can be viewed by using visualization. Are you able to appreciate? Are you able to understand what I'm talking?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now we are going into 5th step. So take the data, understand the data, and do the pre-processing. And my data is ready. If my data is ready, I can apply some feature engineering to choose the best feature. And here I have constructed the model. Got it? What could be the next step? I will get some output. Is it possible for me to do something with tuning, model tuning? Agree? Are you able to understand my process flow?
Yes, sir.
Should I show that screen again? I'm talking about this. I'm talking about how visualization is happening in each and every phase. Asking question, we used visualization to do that. To understand the data, we did that. Right? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Say,
Yes.
for cleaning the data and feature engineering, we did it. Right? Then choosing the model, we just used it. I said that TensorFlow have that visualization to do this. Now we have tuning and evaluation. Now we are in this phase. Now I will let you know how tuning and evaluation is happening through visualization. Is it okay? Are you able to understand my process flow?
Okay, sir.
Some of you should say yes, no. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Your voice is not audible, sir.
Yes. Okay. Sorry? Right. Now I will take
Please
you to
proceed, sir. Please continue.
Yes. Okay. Model tuning. Okay. I will take the clustering algorithm as the example. Now I want to apply clustering algorithm, and by using this visualization, I want to tune my model. Is it okay? So what is clustering? What you are able to see here?
Grouping.
Grouping. Fine. Very good. Ma'am, your voice is breaking, ma'am.
Grouping similar object.
Grouping of similar data into a set. We call it as clustering.
Okay. From this image, what you are able to understand?
Sir, a photo of a girl and a photo of a dog, sir.
Okay. So are you able to differentiate, right?
Two groups, sir.
Okay, two groups. Are you able to differentiate? Girl
Yes,
versus...
sir.
Okay, fine,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Otherwise, it's a big problem. So all the four, what you are able to understand from all these four images?
Sir, we can differentiate, sir, between two objects.
Right. So what is clustering is all about? All the data will looks like same. All the data will looks like same. There will be some kind of similarity, and there will be dissimilarity also. By using this similarity and dissimilarity parameters, you have to group the data. Is it okay? Am I giving you that idea how clustering will happen?
Yes, sir.
Right. So now to do the clustering, these are the procedure. This is all about, we have to formulate the problem. We have to choose a distance measure, and then we should go with the clustering procedure, and we have to decide number of clusters. Here I have the problem. I have the challenge over this. How to choose the right number of clusters in Android. How to decide number of clusters? Some of you, have you heard about clustering algorithm?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Is it a procedure? We have to decide the number of k, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. If all the others who don't know about the procedure, no worries, don't worry. If I ask you to group, say like in today's meeting, we have about 199. Very good. 99 is the too good crowd. Now out of this 99, I want to say you group them into 3. How will you do that?
So number starting names starting from A to M, M to W, W to Z. Like we can differentiate in 3 groups as per the
Very
names.
good. Very good. No problem. Very good. Perfect. Then. Mr. Ranjit, you are mentioning like k-mean is the algorithm to decide k clusters, but the algorithm will not decide. You have to say. So someone is saying about we can group them based on colleges, based on attendance. Based on attendance? Wow, interesting.
Based on gender.
Based on gender, we have 2 groups. I want 3 groups. Based on age group, yes, maybe about in which group I will fall. Age group. How you are grouping it? Tell me.
Based on different states.
Based on different states, yes. Okay, good. Fine. All these things are fine. But which one is very, very important? I should say how many groups is required. Then only you are doing it. Correct or not?
Yes, sir.
Correct. But so the very important step in clustering algorithm is decide on how many number of cluster is required, right? So it is not easy actually. Just like that, we can't choose it. It's very difficult for us to say the number of clusters. So here I want to use visualization to do this. Is it okay?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir. Can we? Is there a relationship between the features of a group and the number of groups that we select?
Sorry, can you repeat your question? Actually, there is some disturbance in the voice.
Sir, can we? Is there a relation between the features of a group and the number of clusters that we select?
No. Feature and number of clusters is there is no relation between those two things.
Okay, sir.
Okay, right now I am saying like I want to use visualization here to choose number of cluster. Agree? Shall we go ahead? Yeah. One example here. K equal to 2 or K equal to 3. Which one is good?
3. K equals 3.
3.
3, sir.
What about 2?
Sir, because both the groups can be differentiated, sir.
Okay.
And
so
above 2 groups can be differentiated, sir.
So according to you, 3 is good or 2 is good?
So 3.
3. Okay. So actually, it's very difficult for us now to say whether 2 is good or 3 is good, even though we are visualizing it. Shall we go for one more step and see whether it is 2 is good or 3 is good?
Yeah, sure, sir.
So here I'm talking about how to choose the K. Here to choose the K, I am using visualization. Fine, right? Now how to do that? Actually, that K clustering should be like within cluster variation should be less, and intra quality should be, I mean, the within the cluster, all the points should be very unique. And if you compare one cluster with the other cluster, it should not be that much, right? That's only I'm showing here. Within sorry, 1 minute. Yeah, within cluster variation or error should be very minimum. That if you take only one group, all the points should be very similar. Okay. Now I will show you how we can use it visualization. Now I have a visualization called one method called elbow method. So what is this elbow method is? It is within that error we want to project it here, and this is all about K. That is K is nothing but different number of clusters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like this. And here error. So by seeing this, can you tell me which one is super? Which one is good here?
3. K equals 3, sir.
Sir, what is WSS?
Within cluster variation error. Within squared sum error.
K equals 3 is an optimal number of clusters, sir. Because the error is less.
Someone is asked me a question that WSS within squared sum error.
Sir,
WSSE actually.
So 3 is the best. 3 is the best case.
3 is the best, right? Yeah. The same thing here.
Yes, sir.
2 is best or 3 is best. Few of you said that 2, and some of you are saying about 3. Even if you are unable to understand, we want to project our output, that is error versus number of K. Now we can understand that 3 is too good. Got it? So 3 is very good, right?
Yes, sir.
This is one way. This method is known as elbow method. This is another use, one of the use cases of visualization. Got it? Another one is all about this is another way. Now from this is all about hierarchical clustering. Even we can apply hierarchical clustering and we can see how many groups are possible. Now can you tell me how many groups are possible for this data? Some other data, okay, it's a different data. Here I projected the data form. How many groups are good if I form the clustering?
Sir, 2.
2. How can you say this? Are you
So
saying
two
like
major,
one?
two major
and
grouping is
1 and 2.
1 and 2. Yes. Sir.
Yes. Very good.
Sir, it is very difficult to.
Very difficult to.
Sir, it is difficult to mention, sir.
No, it's a very difficult. I understand, but at least by seeing this, you have to decide how many cluster is better. I don't say it's very good. Better. No, don't draw anything, please. You can mention. I can do that.
Is it 4?
4.
4. You are mentioning like 4. Yes. 1. Here 1, 2, 3, and 4.
And 4.
Yes.
Yes. It may be optimal. Maybe. Okay, I'm saying like maybe. Again, maybe. But it is somewhat better. So we can go with 4 number of cluster when we go for K-means clustering or some other clustering. Yes, it is good. How I am deciding it? I am using visualization tool. Elbow, not only elbow, ma'am. Elbow is one way. So here I am using this hierarchical clustering method to decide. So I am using visualization technique to decide number of K. Is it good? Is it good for us? Are you able to understand what I am talking?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right? Yes.
Yes.
Right. Fine. Another one is all about hyperparameter tuning in deep learning. Here also it's all about it's like something like our K-means clustering, choosing the K. Hyperparameter tuning is very, very important in supervised learning algorithm, and highly we have to optimize it in a deep learning framework. If you do some kind of hyperparameter tuning, then your network will become very good, and your learning will be very good, and you will get better results, robust answers in your neural network. So again, I want to show that tensor board is used. So here it will create that tensor board will create it, and it will show that how all the layers are interacting and how this will help us to here you can change, actually you can change the hyperparameters, you can add, you can remove it, and from this visualization we will be able to understand how good our H parameter is, right? This is another one. This will also give us some idea. Here I'm projecting 2 different models and outcomes. Here simply saying like this is all about loss, Y is loss, and this is all about number of runs, right? From this, what you are able to understand, which model is good? You can say this model is good as there is some, initially the error is very high, then after a few iterations, the error is now reduced and it is retained. So the model is learning right now, right? But here there is some ups and downs. Sometimes the accuracy is good, sometimes accuracy is very bad, and all the other things, that is loss is nothing but 1 minus accuracy, right? So it's ups and downs. So this model is not good. I can get this idea also from this visualization, right? So I'm good at, I wish to stop it here. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. So what I explained to you is, I want to show that image once again. So I'm saying like how that data analytics process will happen by using, or how your visualization can enhance your data analytics process. So we can ask questions to understand the data. To understand the data, we can have a lot of visualization. Say like you can have your bar chart and pie chart also to understand the data. Then we can apply. We can see that cleaning the data and feature engineering. We can see the missing data, whether missing data is there or not, or something like that. Then we used PCA or PCA method to choose the best features. For that we used visualization. Then here choosing the model. To choose the model also we used visualization in deep learning, and in deep learning we can use it. And actually then we can have a tuning and evaluation. For that I showed you the example of clustering. To choose the best K, we used visualization, and we saw that output, and then accordingly also we can use our visualization tool to understand whether output is right or not. And finally, I said that model tuning is also possible by using our visualization. So I am done with my presentation. If you have any question, you can ask me.
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, yes.
Sir, actually, you talked about the dimensionality reduction, right, sir?
Yes, sir.
When we are interested in visualizing our data, for instance, when we talked about the iris dataset, since the dataset is containing 4 dimensions, we reduced it into 2 dimensions for the sake of visualizing the data.
Yes, sir.
Sir, my question is, can we train our model with the reduced feature set? Will our model give good accuracy?
Okay.
Or the dimensionality reduction, is it suitable only for the data visualization, not for the training, not for training the model?
Okay. Right. So actually, we will be able to get better results when we go for dimensional reduction. Why it is giving us better results is actually the principal component itself. It's what it says is those 4 components information can be viewed as well as those 2 components, principal components, can get all the 4 features information into these 2 feature itself. So that's the meaning of feature reduction is feature reduction, right? That's a reduction method where you are applying some kind of mathematically, you are projecting 4 features set into 2 dimensions. So definitely it will improve your computation. You will get better results. One. Second one is all about the computation time will also be reduced.
Oh, okay, sir.
Computation time will be reduced a lot, right? Why this is coming like this is all about. Actually, all the 4 attributes have a lot of dependency, dependency among the attributes. Actually, if you see, I can give you one example so that you can understand.
Yes, sir.
I can say like BE second year, right? I can say in other column, I'm saying like third semester student or 4th semester student. Is it both same?
Sir, I cannot get it, sir.
Yeah. In one data set, in one column, I'm saying like he is second year student. Student is here in a column. I'm saying like second year. In another column, another attribute, I'm saying like he is the semester wise third semester student. Is it both required for something?
No, sir. We can make it to be a single column because
Correct.
We are talking about students.
Yeah. We are talking about students, and even if I get any one of this, I'm able to get some knowledge. That's it. That is all about some dependency is there among the attributes. Is it possible for me to reduce? Yes, it is possible to reduce. Yeah, reduce it.
Okay, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hope all the participants are clear with the topic. Do you have any more questions, participants? Okay, many thanks for a brilliant session today, sir.
Okay, thank you.
The way you explained the topic was exemplary, and you've explained the right visualization techniques and made the participants to find the challenges with understanding the data. Actually, it was really an interactive session to learn and enjoy. Your skill in engaging the participants was outstanding, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Also, I would like to appreciate all the participants for their active participation throughout the session. So with that, we'll wind up.
Without them, actually, this is not possible for me to give that presentation. They are interacting with me. Otherwise,
Hello, sir.
It's very difficult. Yes.
Sir, it's my earnest request to please share your PPT with the organizers.
I will be shared within 2 minutes. I will share it. You can get it. Actually, that PPT is also consist of different visualization tools, and when you have to use it and when you should not use it. It's just I take it from some other website and I gave that information also. You can see that.
Okay. And sir, another request, sir, if you have some data samples so that we can directly plot it in Tableau. If you have that samples, please share with us, sir.
Sir, better idea is actually take the benchmark data so that you can understand the data very well. So kindly go through that UGC, not UGC, sorry, UCG, right? University of California, UCG, University of
Sir,
California.
UCI, sir, UCI repository.
UCI data repository. Yeah, so a lot of IOE and other things. I am there in UCG. UCI data repository. You can take that, and then it will give you small data, simple data to understand. Many authors are already used it, so you can see that, and then you can understand the data very clearly, right?
Okay, sir. Sure.
The second one is all about, if you are doing your research, take that data and understand. It will give you a lot of idea. Third, if you yet to start your research, take some research paper, take the data which is used by them, and you can use that data set for your computation. Then it is easy for you to do that.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.